While Dallas is coming to the mic, let me call the next group, and that is Luda Miller, Heather Dennis, Galen Smyer, and Chris Stokes. Dallas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Joint Committee. Today I would like to address an issue that is close to my heart. It's you may know it as business personal property tax exemption. I refer to it as big business personal property tax exemption. And the reason is because we already have property tax exemption for the small business on the law. Our district has been funded at a level of $1.4 million less than level in 2008. We're a relatively small district with just a little over $9 million in our budget. The big business personal property tax will cut our district an additional $1.4 million. Additional cut. Our current supplemental levy to keep our district open is $1.79 million, and we are currently planning an additional $660,000 supplemental just to keep status quo on our programs. If completely exempted, according to the Tax Commission numbers, our district will have a tax shift from $4.98 per thousand, now this is just on school tax, to $8.61 per thousand, nearly double. Our county clerk, who is closer to the actual numbers, tells us that it will go from $4.75 per thousand to $10.25 per thousand, more than double is her figures. This puts a real burden on the school districts to pass any bonds or supplemental levies. As you decrease that base, it requires more tax to make the dollars that you have to have for your levies. This legislation has a negative effect, or this proposed legislation has a negative effect on all school districts in the state, not just American Falls. The State Tax Commission has put out the numbers, and I'm sure that many of you have seen those. But it also affects not only school districts, it affects all taxing districts. It affects our cemetery districts. It affects our highway districts, our hospital district. There in American Falls, we have a 10-bed critical access hospital. It will likely close our hospital. It affects cities, counties, sheriff's departments. I talked to our local sheriff, and he says he'll have a conundrum whether to keep jailers to take care of our inmates or patrol officers out on the streets. We currently have a law that exempts the first $100,000 for every business in our county. We could survive with this. It would be a little tough, but we will do it. I urge you to be careful with the big business personal property tax. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dallas. Next, Luda Miller. Is Luda here? Welcome to the committee.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of committee. My name is Luda Miller, and I'm representing Da Vinci Charter School. I'm a parent, and I came here today with my son. And thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. I come from a different school system. So when I started my family and having kids, I thought which school I want to choose for my kids. So when I started to do research on schools, I stumbled across an unusual thing for me. There is no or very limited art or music in elementary schools, which is, in my opinion, essential for young kids whose imagination works the best at young age. I also found out there is an alternative for public schools at charter schools. So we picked Da Vinci Charter School. And my son is in first grade, and I have two more younger kids who eventually will go to school too. I absolutely love the way our school works. They have art, they use hands-on educational method, they respect little kids' opinions and personalities as they would towards adults. What it does, they build strong self-esteem and self-confidence, and they support creativity and being different concept. Kids learning to say their own opinion loud without being afraid to be judged or what other people will think about me. As a U.S. citizen, I pay my taxes every year, big part of which goes towards schools. U.S. is a country of freedom where people have right to make a choice, and I made my choice towards charter school because I think they're doing great and important job for our future society. So I would like my child to get the same funding as a public school student does. I'm standing by equity in funding for my student. Our school right now in a very urgent situation. We're announced to close on February 27, but we're still hoping for miracle funding, and there are lots of kids and teachers and parents who is hoping for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Luda. Heather Dennis, I believe.
Hello, Chairman DeMordaunt and Chairman Getty. Thank you for this opportunity to speak before these committees on this important subject. My name is Heather Dennis, and I am the Organization Director of Answer Charter School. Answer is a K-8 expeditionary learning charter school serving 365 students in our 14th year of operation. Answer has been successful in running an academically rigorous and educationally innovative school offering a choice in education for students in the Treasure Valley. We were named the inaugural Charter Star Award winner, Governor's Bride to Star winner, and Boyer National School of Character. Our students serve their community and succeed academically, traits which have attracted 550 applicants for the 28 openings we will have in our lottery to be held next week. After 10 years of holding classes in leased racquetball courts, Answer was fortunate to be able to secure a loan to move into a permanent facility in Garden City in 2009. Between our loan payment and our annual repair and maintenance set aside, we are spending $234,000 a year maintaining that facility. And while we are proud of our prudent and economical use of taxpayer funds, this is surely a smaller expenditure than many schools undertake. It does require that we spend approximately 13% of the money we receive from the state to maintain a facility. These are funds that in a traditional school would be spent educating children. Due to the passage of the recent levy, Boise School District, where our school is located, will now have $8,377 per student, while Answer will have about $4,800. This is approximately $600 less per student than we received just 4 years ago. Answer has been fortunate to have built up a reserve to help us weather this economic downturn, but those reserves are dwindling. We have cut staff positions, cut salaries, increased class sizes, and have no daytime custodial staff to help offset this loss in funding. As we look forward to the next few years and our vanishing reserves, we will be forced to give up our free and reduced lunch program, further cut our special education staff, and cut programs which will have great negative impact on our students. Students deserve funding equity no matter where they go to school, in a large district, in a small district, in a charter school. Some districts may claim that charter schools take funding away from districts. I say that money doesn't belong to the district, and it doesn't belong to the charter school. It belongs to the student. It guarantees a bright future for them. Please consider restoring support unit funding and providing some sort of facility funding for charters so that all of Idaho students are provided with the opportunities they need and deserve no matter where they go to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Gwen Smyer.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Gwen Smyer. I'm the superintendent of Kasia School District. I'm a 35-year educator, with being in my 6th year as superintendent in Kasia. I'm also a member of the Idaho Association of School Administrators, serving as the Region 4 Superintendent's President. Today I'd like to share the Kasia story. The school district employs approximately 650 full and part-time staff, serving approximately 5,250 students. Ours is a consolidated school district that merged 49 school districts together in one school district in 1948. The Kansas School District is comprised of 17 schools serving 6 communities, encompassing a geographic area larger than the state of Delaware. This afternoon, I would like to ask you to consider comments on 3 topics: school funding to include the preparation for the Common Core state standards, flexibility and local control, and finally, school safety. As you'll recall, when state revenues began declining in 2008, the state education appropriation was necessarily impacted. Beginning in 2010 and 11, our CASU administration trustees were faced with scaling back programmatic expenses, significantly reducing staff, or reducing salaries for all employees. Building budgets and programmatic costs were reduced and drastically cut. Staff were reduced through attrition, and salaries were reduced through the implementation of furlough days, resulting in shorter contracts and a shorter school year. On the heels of these reductions came the expectation to implement the Common Core state standards and prepare for the smarter balanced assessment. Our certified staff has spent the equivalent of weeks of their personal time getting up to speed on the Common Core and collaborating with professionals to improve instruction. I'm requesting you provide us with sufficient level of funding to operate our district. We need funding with which to prepare our teachers and provide the necessary resources, along with increasing the length of our school year to better prepare our students for the increased rigors of the Common Core. The state made it possible for the districts to reduce salaries to comply with budgetary limitations. Local districts must have the authority and flexibility over their costs to include salaries. It's not pleasant to pay less, but it was fiscally necessary to do so. Please do not tie the ability to reduce salaries to an emergency clause or some other trigger. Without the ability to adjust salaries downward when necessary, when absolutely necessary, each district is effectively saddled with an evergreen cause that state certificated employees cannot be paid less or work fewer days. As mentioned earlier, CASU is a geographically large district. I encourage you, this means our response time to remote and rural areas can be lengthy. I encourage the legislature to be mindful of the needs of districts as we adapt to the potentiality of an aggressor in our changing society. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Chris Stokes. Chris is coming up. We have the next group is Troy Schultz, Dave Wagers, I believe, Todd Wells, and Christy Castro. Welcome to the committee, Chris.
Hello, thank you. My name is Chris Stokes. I'm actually here as a favor to my husband. He said, quit railing at me and go talk to the people that can do something about it. So here I am. Now you can start. Mr. Chairman, committee members, thank you for allowing us to speak today. I'm concerned about the direction of the conversation that has started again with the ISBA bills that have been introduced to your committees. These are explained as needing flexibility in a time of budget turndown. And with regard to education in Idaho, that seems to be a permanent condition over the past years. The ISBA has now again set the theme of us against them, or management versus workers. I suggest to you that what's being proposed is not flexibility. It's about going backwards to the 1950s, when teachers did not have decent benefits, decent pay, an ability to bargain or negotiate for good retirement or any kind of working conditions in the classroom. The teaching job is a difficult one with many challenges. I don't even have to describe them here. But consider what the job has to be like now with the environment that they're living under, with their management not behind them. Teachers show us every day what flexibility is. They deal with demanding curriculum involving grading processes, demanding administrators, demanding parents. They have to accommodate every child in their learning styles every single day. They're on board all day long. No downtime during the day and no forgiveness for an off day. They give up their lunch duty for working in the yards, working in the lunchroom, meeting with parents and special educators. These teachers deserve our support, the job stability that they deserve, the security and the respect. They deserve your help and your support. I do have some suggestions. Early education for our little ones, smaller classroom sizes. You hear the charter schools saying that's the reason for their success. I think that would help our public schools as well. Allow the task force the time necessary to come together and bring us options and see what great education systems can be put in place. Also require public review and input of the process. We already know that the public wants an idea of what the process is. Reject the ISBA bills that put the burden on the teachers to balance the underfunded education system. Raise the bar. It seems a darn shame that charter schools and the public schools have to be fighting for inadequate funds. Fund the schools appropriately, all of them. Don't let anybody fight over the funding. Keep the business property tax. Evaluate and analyze the existing business tax exemptions. If they're not bringing Idaho anything in exchange for that exemption, get rid of it or reduce it. Use those funds to help fund education. Look at the fees that are being charged. Any plan that's coming forward, whether it's with the task force or anything else, is going to cost money. Let's understand that. But let's look at what we're doing. Are we preparing our teachers to face the battle of implementing education reform? That's what's important. And I really appreciate your time today, and I hope that you'll think about what the teachers need. Thank you.